Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. A lot of tech issues here. So, just getting all centered for the conversation about sugar. Sugar and spice is not always nice. So, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. My name is Tamara Wells from Wells of Wellness and Herbs Health and Healing. So, welcome today to our Wellness Wednesday Live. We're going to talk about a little about some organic healing and what that looks like in today's society, what's going on with it, how we can stay a little healthier, and kind of point some what to be aware of, which means that. And being aware, you need to know what's going on in the news. Unfortunately, I don't like watching the news, but my husband does. So I tend to get drawn in depending on the topics that they discuss. Um, Again, my name is Tamara Wells, Wells of Wellness, Herbs Health and Healing, and we're here today to talk about sugar and spice is not always nice. And I'm going to pin that topic so you all are aware of what we're talking about today. So if you're joining in, give me a holler and let me know where you're joining in from. Well, let me know a little bit about you. How long have you been following? And what topics were your favorite? Or what do you want to hear me talk about? That's better. Yeah. What do you want to hear me talk about? Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you prefer to hear me talk about. Before we start this topic, I'm going to pin what we're going to talk about today so that everybody is aware. Let's see, sugar and spice isn't always nice. Here we go. Okay, and let's pin that. Let's pin it. And there we go. And if you have any questions, remember to click the tab on the bottom that's got the little camera and put your questions in there. Well, it's actually a little conversation. Put your questions in there. And Facebook, you can put your questions on the screen since there is no specific place to put that. So just pinning the topic here for you guys. What we're going to talk about is sugar and spice is not always nice. Okay. And that being said, let's kind of delve into what I do. My name is Tamara Wells. I'm with Wells of Wellness. Wells of Wellness, Herbs Health and Healing. I'm the founder of that company. And what I do is I go skin deeper regarding the skin, regarding the body. I go skin deeper into the gut to target root issues and causes and focus on herb health and healing with proprietary blends by master targeting. And those discussions start with you and I, with where you are at this time, and we go into what you need in your body because, as I always say, everybody's body is a different body. I needed to wake up this afternoon, so I'm drinking some mushroom coffee. So if I take a sip from here to there, I don't have my water out here. I don't know what I was thinking, but I think it's because I had my mushroom coffee a little hectic today. So um, welcome to the group and welcome to the discussion. Feel free to ask any questions. Again, for Instagram, put it in your conversation where the question mark is at the bottom right of your screen. And for Facebookers, you can join in by asking your questions directly on the screen. And there will be a Q&A where I answer some of the questions at the end. I'm not going to hold you guys long today because this is a pretty brief topic without having to delve into diabetes and all of the the turnouts and outcomes of health with regard to sugar and chemicals and things of that nature. So I'm going to just touch on a few of the topics. Again, this is about sugar and spice isn't always nice, and unfriendly system ingredients. Okay, we're going to start with, as I am a functional skin and gut functional wellness coach. What I do is I serve CEOs going skin deeper into gut health and inside and out healing of the body systems using target proprietary herbs, health and healing ingredients, and they're all organic. And I start with where you sit, where you are in your life, and we start there. I'd like to share a little story just to begin with about sugars. This is a true story, and this is my story I want to share with you. Um, how I used to drink Pepsi all the time. And the reason I didn't drink Coke, because Coke wasn't strong enough for me. It just had a sweet, syrupy taste. I know they got a trademark secret, but I was more fond of the strong sodas. So I would drink Pepsi, and I'm gonna tell you, sugar is addictive, as we all know. It's quite addictive. You can be eating it and not even be aware that you're actually addicted until you crave it. And so that's what it does. It goes into the bloodstream and it takes the cells through a process of adjustment, and your body adjusts to that flavor profile, and then you have that craving. And then when you go through imbalance with your body emotionally, stress wise, or if you go through something as far as a change in your life or trauma, whatever is triggered, that will that can also trigger a negative response to emotional eating and things of that nature, and drawing more from what you already have a taste for or a palate for, which may be bring into in moderation. No moderation, but it's all about moderation. So, sharing this story, I used to drink about 5, 6 Pepsis a day, and developed osteoporosis from that because sugar tends to eat up the bones. It deteriorates a cell, just as cancer. It actually is fed fed cancer cancer cells are fed sugar, and they feed off of sugar, and that's how they multiply in your body. Okay, so I did eventually develop cancer, but that took a while. But I developed osteoporosis first, and when I developed osteoporosis, I was not aware of the decay of my bone and skeletal structure that was compromised. So what happened is I ended up being fragile, and more porosity developed in my bones, which means there was no magnesium, there was no calcium coming together as a binding ingredient to strengthen my my bone structure, or to feed my bone structure to strength. And I was born an organic baby, so uh, that it took a lot to kind of destroy that. So when you become when your bones become more porous, it's very much like your hair absorbs more moisture. Some people's hair is not a high porosity where it absorbs moisture. Some people's are, and that's where we have with our culture in minorities in Black culture, African American culture, where we get the shrinkage. Okay, so that shrinkage equates to the holes, which is porosity in the bone structure, which creates an osteoporosis environment for your skeletal system. And mine was developed for my in my bones for my skeletal system, and I developed osteoporosis. That being said, as a result, it took months, but it it resulted in, it resulted in a broken femur. Okay, now it was my femur was broken, and it wasn't super broken. It was what they called a hairline fracture. Okay, that's still considered in medical terms broken. When I didn't know that it was broken. So it was obviously trying to heal itself. It's trying to fight. My cells were trying to fight, because in a fracture, it usually separates. So, what was my question when I went through this? What was holding my structure together, which had already been broken and or fractured and separated? My question was, what held it together? the majority of the good cells that had the strength, that was absorbing the calcium, magnesium in my body based on whatever I was consuming and breaking down. That is what kept the structure. And when I saw what the doctor took a photo of, you could actually see the fracture. This is my leg and bone, and the fracture was on an angle. So imagine a slight gap in the fracture. If Facebookers, if you can see me, imagine a slight gap in the structure. You see the slight gap that where you can see through it. Imagine that gap having fibers that connect to each other for the gap to be stronger and to bring it to a close. That's what happens in the healing process. And with a scar develops bruising, and air kind of helps it to heal. But tissues are actually weaving themselves to restore cellular strength. So there was a battle going on, and it was a slow process for my cells because I wasn't absorbing the full amount that my body needed to seal that fracture. So as a result, in that healing process of all those fibers coming together to seal that, it just wasn't strong enough. And I ended up with a fractured femur. And what the doctor saw, he showed me all of those fibers and how it was trying to restore itself. I figured that it was trying to restore itself. He called them tissues. I call them, I call them tissues as well. But it was more like a, more like a filament. You could see structures like hairs, like strong hairs, different hairs, and they were actually connected, like they were really strong. And I would look at that. I looked at that, and I felt the pain within my body, but nothing told me something was wrong until I started getting achy. Okay, so that area that was already weakened in structure with a fracture during the healing process, it actually became painful for me, where inflammation became an issue of concern, where it was getting cooler and my bones were absorbed because they were weak, not absorbing full amounts of calcium and magnesium. Since they were weak, they were very sensitive to the temperature, and so my joints connected to my legs, where it was my femur, my joint where my knees and my ankle, things were aching in that area and in the bones. And it wasn't rheumatoid or any type of bone arthritis, but it was an ache. So it made me aware. Sometimes I would get muscle aches, and sometimes I would just get aches that were just barely just pain, just an annoying pain. And I realized that there was something that I could do. So I looked at foods that strengthen my bones. And it wasn't milk, because milk, of course, we all know milk does not have calcium and in it, and does not have magnesium in it until after they put it to a high temperature when they get it from the cow to pasteurize it in the process, which is what America calls purification, because of where the cows come from. So they end up doing this to so-called destroy all the bad bacteria, and then they inject it with more things like calcium, magnesium, fluoride, whatever things, ingredients that you need. So that's what was in the milk. So I couldn't drink milk because I was intolerant lactose wise. So as I healed, I would eat things like figs. I would eat things like broccoli. I would eat things like yams, things with potassium, things with calcium. I would eat even some shellfish. So after about maybe 4 months of seeing the doctor, he noticed that breakage, that fracture that was in on my leg, that fracture that I had originally, the gap had already closed and sealed. But he still saw the hairline fracture, and he did not understand how I hadn't fallen and actually broken it or cracked it. So I'm explaining to him that there's no more pain because, of course, I had changed my diet, and I no longer was drinking the 5 to 6 Pepsis a day that would deplete the calcium and magnesium that I needed to consume. So all of those things said is what sugar will do to the body, and that's just the bone and the skeletal structure, and that's the skeletal system. So in saying that, I share with you as a bottom line is that even though you may feel the craving of a sweet, make sure the sweet that you're craving is a healthy sweet treat. Make sure that you can benefit, or your body can benefit from what you're consuming, because when things are more organic, you consume more of the nutrients that your body needs to absorb in your gut, so that your body can actually heal. So that's what it took for that fracture to heal for me. And I had to let go of something, and I had to alter my diet in order for that to even occur. So knowing what is good for you, when you have an inclination or a thought that you're craving something, ask yourself, why am I craving this? What am I going through? And what can it benefit me? How can it benefit my body? How can it benefit my body health wise, emotion wise? Because that's the reason, the bottom line, we eat the sugars and all of the spicy things. And I'm going to hit the spicy stuff, and I'm going to give you an example of the hot Cheetos. I know a lot of people are just absolutely addicted to the hot Cheetos. Well, just so you know, they don't have great ingredients in them. Okay. And I'm going to name a few. It might scare the crap out of you. I don't know. It might scare you straight. I don't know. But just so, if I've always told my clients, if you can't read the ingredients, and this is what I learned when I was a child, what my mother told me, we would love cereals and pulling them off the shelves. I want this one. I want that one. No, everything that you see is not good for you. And I used to have an uncle that said that to me. Everything is jut for you, jut to you, ain't always jut for you. He had a little accent. So the funny part of that is there is a lot of truth in all of this. So you need to understand why you're craving and what you're craving, and if it's a beneficial thing that you're craving. Otherwise, replace it with something a lot healthier. Health requires a little work, a little commitment, a little dedication, just like entrepreneurship, just like anything else that you want in life. It requires you moving forward, you 100%. You have to step into something and do the work in order to know what it is that that why it is that you are craving what you're craving, so you can better understand your body. You don't want your body to be a weak structure, because the minute that you get stressed out, who's going to take the beating? You're going to take the beating. So you're really beating up yourself. And does it make sense to beat yourself up? No, it doesn't. We want to use common sense, but then we don't use the sense to be commonly sensible about what we do. We have to be very intentional about understanding what our bodies are here for, how our bodies are capable, and how they can continue to restore, renew, revive, because we have intelligent bodies. Just to hit on the spicy topics, there are things that the FDA, as I said, the FDA approved, and other countries won't even approve them, but the FDA is allowed it in the U.S. And there's some of them that even they've taken off the list, but they haven't touched a majority of them. I mean, this is it. A majority of these ingredients are in female products. Okay. Female products. Now, men have different systems than we have. Our structure is slightly fragile, more fragile than a man. So we go through so many changes in our lives. Don't you think those changes affect the emotional, the physical, the mental, the spiritual, all of those things? And here we are coming into balance, and then we ain't even eating right. Okay. So you want full privilege to your whole body and healing and how you receive information, then treat it well with intention. Many of the products that are marketed toward children and ads, they make it seem so agreeable, and like e-cigarettes, they make it seem so agreeable and so much fun about what you're doing, but they're not really giving you the non-benefits. If you can't come up with some benefits for you and your body, then why bother? If you can't make no money in doing something, Are you gonna still do it? You gonna volunteer? So, uh, I mean, your entrepreneurship, being a CEO, is not a volunteer basis. That's called a hobby. Outside of that, okay. And when you volunteer something, that's called donation. So you basically donating your body to the ill response of health or being or unhealth. Okay, so there have been banned ingredients. Here's it. Some of the and some of them I'm telling you I can't even pronounce. I'm gonna try to pronounce some of them. Benzophenone. Okay, if I can't say it, why do I want to eat it? Just saying. Ethyl acrylate. Now, anything that says ethyl is related, I know this for a fact, is related to an alcohol. Now, it doesn't mean that it's an alcohol that you consume or drink. It could mean it's a chemical structure that is on the scientific chart, but that has been synthetically manipulated by man. Okay, so they created this and then shot it up in your food, and you can't even read it, but you eating it. Okay, eugenyl methyl ether. Now we all know what ether is. Ether is like, I mean, really, ether is like something that's volatile for explosives. Okay, explosives. And they've got micrine, polygon, pyridine, styrene, and these are things that are in your foods. I mean, we're talking about then back then when we used to eat sugar, it was, and these are identifiable products that are still today available for you to consume as much as you want of. Back then, back in the 80s, I grew up. Good and Plenty, Red Hots. I know some of these y'all are familiar with. Lemon Heads, Alexander Grapes, Baked Beans, the spicy, those were the sugary ones. The spicy ones, Fireball, Hot Sausage, Red Hots, Beef Jimmy, Jimmy Sticks, Hot Pickles. Remember the pickles? I used to like the kosher deals. But now, today, the sugars are Skittles, Starburst, Jolly Rancher, Laffy Taffy, now laters. Now some of them are even familiar from back in the day from being so old. Sour Patches, those are the new ones, like the gummies, the worms, and now they're adding CBDs to it, okay? And you don't even know what part of the flour is being used that you're consuming that is affecting your mental, emotional, physical, and all of these things, which is actually affecting you in society and how you respond, how you react, how slow you respond, how slow you react. Okay, we got orange slices, M&Ms, and all of these things. All these things. The spicy is the flaming hot Cheetos, hot fries, spicy Doritos, all this stuff, and when you look at these things, they're red. They're literally red. What makes you think red dyes are not included in them? There are red dyes all up and through this stuff. So do you know what that does to your body? I mean, the liver is meant to flush anything that dumps into the body. But when that liver gets full, and if you eating bags and bags and bags of Cheetos, don't you think that's going to dump into your bloodstream because you can't break it down? It's going to go into your gut and it's going to cause some imbalance, some issues. That acid is going to come up and cause some upper GI issues. Then your liver is going to be overtoxed and it's going to come out on your skin. It's going to come out in your mood. It's going to come out in a lot of various ways in your life. Okay, so we're looking at all of these things affecting you. All of the above ingredients that I mentioned, all the pre ingredients that I mentioned, are all linked to cancer. All them candies, all them treats are linked to cancer. I mean, it's to the point. I've never been a sweet tooth, but if I do have a sweet tooth, I'm gonna make my own cake. Um, I'm gonna make my own sweet treat. I have been known to make my own potato chips, my own French fries, and dry them or rehydrate them, or just dehydrate them. And recently, if you've watched, I've made fig chips. I can make chips out of anything. You can make chips out of avocado, okay, onion. You can make. It don't have to look like a chip. It could be an onion, literally a dehydrated onion. You can make flakes with it. You can make chips with it. You can dump those like a onion ring into a nice, a slight dusted batter, and just dehydrate them, dry them out, or fry them really nice and golden, and then dehydrate them, and then put them in a bag. I like to store them in a big bag. I used to store them in a big bag until I got so many collective banana chips, whatever, prune chips, whatever. I would make everything, anything that you could name of. It could be a fruit, then it could be a chip. If it's a vegetable, it could be a chip. I've made broccoli chips before. So you will stay in tune to learn more about doing that, because it's really fun to do. And you don't have to do a lot. All you have to do is just have what you want it to taste like and the actual product. And then the process is simple. It just takes a little more invested and intentional time to see the result. And if you get used to that, your palate gets used to that, just like it gets used to the bad stuff. Okay? So we're going to talk now about. I already told you what the liver does. Did you know that blood for the liver, what it does is when the blood is leaving the stomach and the intestines passes through the liver. Okay, when blood is leaving the gut, so like a leak, so to speak, when it's leaving the gut, it passes through the liver, and that's like a second filtering process. But anything that overdoes the liver, that if like it's a sponge, if the liver is overdone, what does the sponge do? It drips. When it's full of water, and it can get full of water, it will drip. And where's that drip going? Into the bloodline, into the bloodstream. It's affecting your DNA. It's affecting your response. It's affecting your emotions, your physical. It's affecting all of the body systems that you have. Okay? And it's slowing the healing process. Hence why herbs are vital. Herbs and nutrients are vital. They are in your foods, they naturally grow, and you don't have to influence them synthetically like mankind does just to mass produce and end up with cancer as an overage of excess, because they're merging synthetics into your products. And now your body is so used to it today that you don't even know, your body doesn't even know it's not good for you anymore. It's just continuing to destroy you slowly. Okay? And it processes the blood, and it breaks down, balances, and creates nutrients. Also, it metabolizes drugs and into forms that are easier digestible, more easier and more non-toxic. So that's what a filter does. It filters all the bad stuff so that when it goes through that screen of the liver, then your blood only gets the nutrients for your body conversion, which is for energy, for fat burning, all of that good stuff goes into your blood, and it helps the heart circulatorily. I'm gonna tell you another thing that happens when you eat all these nasty foods and all these things that are not healthy for you. You're affecting your pancreas. Your pancreas is right behind your liver. Okay, it aids in digestion, and that's why the stomach is vital, and the intestines are vital. That's why the liver is so important in conjunction with the pancreas. What it does is it helps making juices in the digestive system, in the gut. It helps the microbiome break down into the juices for and they call them enzymes, for the enzymatic process, the probiotic process to occur. Now, prebiotic process is more when you consume something and it's the aiding of the probiotic process. So that's before. But these enzymes help break down sugars. So all of that excess, it helps you. But if you overdumping and not being doing things in moderation, then don't you think it's going to be an overjob? I mean, when you're at work and you've done your job for the day, but you know you still got an extra workload to catch up to making things ready for tomorrow. You don't want an overload from the day before to catch up before you can get to the day's work, because you're going to always be behind. That's exactly what happens with the sugars and fat. When they break down and fats and starches, it constantly accumulates. It's accumulating. So after a while, it's like a big backup. It's like a big road highway backup. It's like, traffic. Everybody's waiting their turn to, hey, I'm sugar number 20. Hey, how'd you get up front? They're trying to figure out, how can I break down? And because you're too slow, you're taking all up the time, and it's almost the close of business. Hey, the body's gonna shut down after a while. When you go to sleep, your body is resting. Your body is trying to heal after that point. When you rest, when you're literally resting, your body rests. Like on the Sabbath day, when you rest, it's for restore, restart, renew. It's for absorption to occur. It's for all it in order to get the restore, renew, and for refreshness. You have to be absorbing. So you can't be behind. That traffic needs to catch up. So you need to do the day's work, do due diligence, and do what you need to do, not to have to consume so much to keep you behind. Okay, and to keep your body behind. The pancreas also helps all of these starches and sugars become messengers that travel in the bloodstream. So they actually send a message to all of the organs where they can absorb properly and help regulate your blood sugar levels and your appetite stimulation. Okay, so and your stomach acids, it like sends what we call neurons that send the message to the rest of the body. It sends a message to all of the organs when to dump, what to do, how to do it, and what's the backup plan. It's like an SOP, really. A signal with it's like an SOP. Okay, so your stomach acid is like hydrochloric acid. We all know what a volcano does. A volcano erupts when it's stirred. It could be a wind, it could be debris, something that may create a stir within that hot lava content. Well, the hot lava is your gut, and that's your all of your breakdown, and you need to break down each regular consumption of whatever food you took in. That needs to break down in the day, and that is turning into a bile. Some of us still got stuff from last week, last month, even. I mean, people have died with their 9 foot intestines absolutely full. I mean, you can imagine. And sometimes when you get a colon cleanse, or when you go into get a colon cleanse, they 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 have stories. The people that do the colon cleanse, they have stories that some bowel is so bad, that is so dark and old, or wrinkly and old, that it it's been in there for years. Okay, so we I don't know if you all know that the colon is at least 5 inches in circumference. Do you realize that that's what your bowel is supposed to really look like? It's supposed to slide through the walls and come out form. You're thinking that, yeah, it might be a little large for you to pass through, but God created it in that way. And then the small intestine is to aid in the breakdown. Okay, so with that, stomach acid is just like hydrochloric acid, and it helps to break down the contents of the gut, of the digestive process, for the digestive process. Okay, it's a breakdown of foods, and its environment is 90 degrees, 90 plus degrees. The inside of your body, the internal temperature is up to 98 degrees, but the gut is 90 degrees plus. That's hydrochloric acid. It can break down steel. It can melt through steel. Okay, that's pretty much what a volcano is capable of. Okay, so just a little bit about that's just a little bit about sugar and spice, and I wanted to share all of that with you guys because it's just sad today where the FDA is not approving all of these things that other people in other countries are saying has been and always has been bad for you. The U.S. is all about mass production. It's all about money, and then you find out we really don't have any money. It's all about money for them to reinvest, and the bottom line is greed, and they don't care about your health. So you have to care about your health because your health matters. Okay, and that's what I'm going to end this session with. Your health matters because sugar and spice isn't always nice. The unfriendly system ingredients that can actually create a bad structure of your body. I'm Tamara Wells, and thank you for joining us today. I wanted to share also that there has been, of course, if you've been watching, there has been a promotion and a winner for the sauces and jams. In my sauces and jams, I do make organics. However, they are not available for through our website. They are available for my followers on Facebook and my followers on Instagram. So you have to DM me if you should see a post or a story about something that is an organic food that is not on the page or on the website as a product, then you would have to contact me directly for interest. And I have to see that you're a follower for you to get the benefit. Okay. And the winner won some sauce and some fig jam. So that was really a fun thing. That was really fun for me. I really enjoyed giving that away. So I want to say thank you for listening, and I really appreciate you. You are my healthy, so be in wellness. Okay. God's blessings and God's evening to you all. Follow me on Instagram at Wells of Wellness, and follow me on Facebook at Wells of Wellness, Herbs, Health, and Healing. This is Tamara Wells, and I bid you a good day and God's afternoon. Take care, everybody. Bye. Take care, everyone. I'll talk to you soon. This will repost, and you'll be able to view this video live. This is Tamara Wells. Bye. Here's my passport.